Portals.
Welcome to Art Portals.
Yes.
Yes.
On today's
episode, we are going to be repeating
ourselves
the
whole time.
The whole time. Hope you're in for a fantastic podcast episode. We're going to do some introductions. We're going to talk a little bit about how we work, why, and where, and when.
And who we are, and what gives us the authority to talk about art. What even gives us the authority?
Where, when. We're going to do a little bit of a Dr. Seuss type situation. We're going to talk about rhyming words.
Yes.
So my name's Rex. This is Loren. And I started this podcast because I wanted us to talk about art and research.
Yeah, actually, this was all his original idea. I had nothing to do with it. I'm just here as a little piece of jewel.
I'm actually going to cut her out. I'm going to CGI her out of every conversation.
And put his other girlfriend in.
More importantly, it's going to be me talking to myself. I'm going to put a big mirror in between. So that'll be exciting. We got big things coming up for the podcast, and stay tuned for that.
That's kind of like your art process, though, just looking in the mirror and just talking to yourself.
And we
American Psycho vibes.
We're on YouTube now, so check us out there. You can see our faces, you can see our hairs, and you can see what our fingers look like. And maybe you're one step closer to giving us a smooch, and that's what we would really like from you as an audience.
So
give you all kisses.
How do we explain to the wonderful artists and listeners of our podcast why we chose to do a podcast?
Well, the reason why I created this podcast is because I think that it's important to see what other people are doing, and also I'm pretty handsome, so I think it'd be nice to see myself on camera. And that's kind of my game plan. That's kind of been the ongoing game plan for me.
You gotta shake what your mama gave you.
And then she lives with me, so I just figured, hey, you want to sit down with me? And
I'm like the dog of the house, so.
Yeah, it's pretty much if I have leftover food, I just scoop it onto the ground and she laps it up. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about how you started making art and why you think you can call yourself an artist. What gives you the right?
But before we begin with that, I do want to discuss what made us get into podcasting, because I've had a couple friends, we've told them, hey, like, we're starting a podcast, and they'll ask us, oh, why? And I think it's interesting, like, why are we doing this? But really what I have concluded from this experience is there aren't very many artists talking about what they do and contextualizing their process and the mindset and lifestyle that is required in order to really embody the life of an artist. And you don't have to make tangible products in order to apply what it is that we are creating. You could just live life as an artist and apply your imagination and creativity in other avenues and aspects. So I think it's pretty interesting and different that we're really being able to express how it feels to live our lives in this way. And I'm really excited for all of the future projects that we choose to do with this, because like every new idea, it's like a seed. You need to water it and watch it grow. So who knows where it'll take us. But for now, we're excited, ready to go.
Yeah, one of the goals as well is to demystify the art making experience, because it's not like magic. There's no secret. It's truly just hard work. And I think it's also nice to have a little community. So if you don't have people directly in your life that are doing the thing you want to do, maybe we can be just a little bit of a supplement in your life, and until you have that in your own personal life physically. So we could just be homies digitally and check in whenever you're painting. We can be in your ear holes, and thank you for inviting us into your life.
Yeah, thank you for listening. And yeah, maybe we can now lead on to just discussing a bit more what we do. So Rex, you're an artist. What type of art do you create?
Yeah, I make art. I wish I had a backwards hat and a toothpick right now and some sunglasses. But yeah, I make art. No big deal. I like to paint my feelings and stuff. How about you? What do you like to make and do?
Oh, I like art and stuff. We are both painters, and we're both contemporary surrealists. I would say you're more of an authentic surrealist than I am, because I like to sort of create and construct some drawings before I can flow into how it's going to end up looking.
Not
where
me, baby.
yeah, he kind
No
of closes
plan.
his eyes and just throws whatever on the canvas.
No game plan. Every now and then I'll look at a picture of someone and add that to it, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I don't like to use projectors. I don't like drawing. I like keeping painting and drawing separate. So when I work, I just basically doodle on hard mode. So I push myself to not have a plan. And for me, that's like skydiving. It feels really fun. It's kind of like an adrenaline boost every time I start a new painting. And it makes me feel alive. It gets my blood pumping and it makes me feel like I'm afraid and the wheels are going to fall off this wagon at any moment and everything is wrong and on fire.
Yeah.
And then I finish the painting and it's like I'm Superman. And it feels really good. I like having those peaks and valleys in my life. I like kind of losing my mind on the way to the end result. And that old cliche, it's all about the journey. I feel like it's all about the journey, man.
Yeah, man. You gotta take the long road of life.
Yeah.
Take the scenic route.
And I use oil paints mostly, and I like to use canvas or wood board. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Tell me about you. I'm getting to know her. It's our first date.
Yeah, we never met. So I'm an oil painter. At the moment, we both are living in California, and we were previously living in Florida, and we moved out here because I got accepted to a graduate program, Cal State San Bernardino. So it's been a pretty cool experience so far. And as a graduate student, just painting, building my portfolio, working on developing and honing my skill set. Yeah, I mean, I again like am a surrealist, but I do use projectors. I think that some of the work that I'm doing is super intricate, and that's another part of breaking the rules. It's okay to use a projector if you want to, as long as you know what you're drawing. Just go for it. It helps you speed the process, and I've done that a couple times with some of my figures, so it's been helpful. Most of my work is just about the human experience and our interaction through an internal and external lens. And so really it's just about, conscious work and also self-awareness, but questioning your self-awareness, and there's lots of ups and downs to it. But yeah, I love oil painting. I've been experimenting with creating abstractions and then building up from those abstractions with different tools. And yeah, I think that really art has just been this, I wouldn't even say it's a newfound love, but it always feels new because every single day I'm learning something different. And the more in the sauce I become, it's like further to even go back and look away from it. So I'm just going to keep swimming in it and hopefully keep discovering who I am as a person and what that means to be.
For sure. So, tell me about your first memories of making art.
Ooh, well, that's going back to when I was like a kid, a little niña. And so when I was just a little kid, my parents actually put me in art lessons. And it's funny because when I was a kid, I always wanted to paint. But then as I became more of an adolescent and a teen, I just did not want to even be bothered. I just wanted to be a little emo girl and write in my journal and just write poetry all day. And that was who I was at the time. But as a kid and as children, I feel that we are more intuitive, and I really wanted to draw. And so my parents actually put me in art lessons with this woman who was their friend, and we had like personal lessons. And I just remember painting and doing collage work and spray paint and all these crazy kooky things. And I felt like I just remember that experience using my imagination and really applying just a level of, hey, this is fun and I can express myself. So that is definitely my earliest memory. What about you?
My earliest memory was drawing a stick figure, and I was a really little guy. I don't remember what specific age, but I was using a purple marker and I was drawing a stick figure. And I remember showing my mom because I was so proud. And I could tell she's like, that's not a person. But she was very supportive. And I just remembered how good it felt to make something that looked like the real world and I captured it. But I was, again, probably like 3 or 4 years old at that time. And moving forward all throughout middle school and obviously elementary school before that, I really loved art, but I always wanted to be a soccer player or something. Like I wanted to do something with sports. But I also had all these mental fabrications of, oh, I'm going to do both. I'm going to be an artist and a soccer player and a basketball player and a tennis player. So
Juggle all these hats.
exactly, exactly. So I reeled back on that in high school. But one of my favorite parts of making art was making people laugh. I remember during the FCAT, which is like a standardized test in Florida, we had to just wait, and you couldn't have any materials other than the test itself and a scrap piece of paper. So on the scrap piece of paper, I remember in 6th grade, my friends told me what to draw. So I drew, it was a scene with the Teletubbies and Barney, and they were gathered around a Christmas tree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was right after the test was done, and we were allowed to just sit there. And my friend was sitting right next to me, and then his friend got the attention of a couple other people, and I was basically like, tell me what to draw and I'll draw it for you on their scrap piece of paper. And that's what really catalyzed it for me. But I did play sports for a number of years after that, and that felt important to me. But right around age 17, I realized that nothing else matters. I have all these complex emotions that I can't really express with words. It feels too limiting. But then I found art, and it went from a thing I did to make people laugh to one of my best friends was my sketchbook, and it felt like I was falling in love with myself and making things. And I had a Facebook I would post on, and I'd get like 3 or 4 people to like it, but for me that was everything. It felt like finishing one drawing a day meant I had not only a long extended conversation with someone, and that was my sketchbook. It felt like I was building something like a portfolio that other people could look at. And then when I turned 18, I started taking college classes, and I went from finishing one quick drawing a day to spending hours and hours on paintings. And it felt like I was doing that same thing. I was still creating a relationship with a piece of art, but rather than it being quick one-off things, it's paintings that take weeks, sometimes months. And I was trained by 2 guys. I'd like to give a big shout out to Larry Vienu, Mr. V, and Jay Spalding, both of them at Seminole State College. That's where I started out my college career, and I owe everything to them. Honestly, I was in a really strange place at the time, and they took me under their wing. Larry is super into ravens, and Jay is super into fish. So it was like I had land, air, and sea all covered. So
all
it
the elements.
it was such a beautiful moment, and the class sizes were so small that I got to hang out after class. I got to do a work study program. I got to clean the tables, and it really just built a really strong relationship between myself and the art studios. So I got into drawing, painting, sculpture, printmaking, digital design, all of those things all at once. And it felt like I went from not being able to have a conversation about art with anyone who fully understand the process to suddenly I'm the one listening and I'm in student mode. And it felt really, really nice. It was very humbling, and it definitely prepared me for a lifelong obsession. And now I'm 29, and
Yeah, how many years have you been professionally creating work?
I started doing caricatures when I was 17. So
It's about like 12, 13 years.
yeah,
Wow.
so but making my own personal art, I've been making sales for probably 10 years, doing things I actually want to make. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
it's
definitely
been a
the guy
really
to
nice.
go to.
Yeah, it's been a good run. I'm really enjoying it.
It's cool because Rex and I are in a relationship, and before we met, again, like painting was always in my life, but I wasn't brave enough to pursue it as my passion, and this is what I want to make my career. And I'd always had it around, but I never really took it seriously until we met and I saw what you had created. And I was like, wait, you can do this? You could just have fun and it doesn't matter. Like money isn't the most important thing. And you were like, yeah, dude, money doesn't matter. Like, just have fun and you'll figure it out when you get there. And I was just like, damn, okay. I like that. I like what he's doing. And that really inspired me to really take my work to the next level because when we met, I was studying animation. And at the time, I had wanted to create my own comic book. And I had all the character designs, I had the whole story written out. And I was a super big writer because I went from like drawing when I was just a little kid to writing for like years, and depression that influenced my writing, and then not caring about anything, and went through a phase of just partying and total neglect for my mental health until I realized that, hey, I actually have all these ideas that I need to pursue. And so that creativity has always been within me, but I never fully gave myself the chance that I deserved until I put myself into school and tried to apply myself. And then everything eventually aligned in a way where I was able to pay attention to it, recognize it, and know that this was here to serve my higher power. And that was essentially, hey, girl, you need to reawaken your love for painting because this is what it is. And when we met, it was just like the spark that I needed to be like, hey, he's inspiring me. I'm super digging his vibe, but also you can totally do this, because it went from me wanting to tell stories to understanding that there's this visual language that is just more impactful than just all the things that we can say in a couple of pages. There's emotion, there's the untold secrets, and I guess conversations that we have when we see something that really inspires us, but it isn't telling us how to feel. It's just making us feel. And something about the simplicity of that is what always inspires me about art and fine art and unique art and all of that cool stuff. So I felt really inspired by that, and I wanted to really push that narrative to the next level. And yeah, I mean, I've been painting professionally for, when did I start? Like, I would say 2018. It is 2024, so what, like 6 years or so?
Yeah, so
Just about.
by the time this episode comes out, it'll be 6 years since we met.
Yeah, that's true. We are going to be together for just about 6 years.
Yeah. So the way we met was at the University of Central Florida.
Central.
We had a intensive drawing class,
Mm-hmm.
and actually today would have been the first day of class 6 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I knew immediately. I was really, really into her. And
What'd
then
you know?
I had to break her down over time. I had to wear her down. And fellas, take notes. I basically did absolutely nothing but be her friend, as you should as a man. If you are in love with a woman and you aren't sure if she loves you back, make sure to just be there. Make sure to wait around for the scraps. No, I'm joking. So I basically just introduced myself.
Mm-hmm.
So she saw my drawing and
Yeah,
I
we
saw
had a
her drawing.
self-portrait assignment to do, right?
Yep. So the first day of class, our teacher, Dennis Ahern, shout out, ya boy, he assigned us a self-portrait assignment. That was his way of getting to know us. So we went home. 2 days later, we brought our drawings back. I really liked her drawing, but I waited for her to say something first. As a gentleman, I didn't want to drool all over her.
Hey, I like your drawing.
Yeah, and I said,
I like your drawing.
I like your drawing right back. Big fan. And then she asked me what my name is.
Yeah, and I'd never heard the name Rex before. And so it was like, huh? And you're like, Rex. I'm like, what? And he put his little hands up like a little T-Rex, and he goes, like a T-Rex. I was like, oh, cool, okay, yeah, my name is Loren. And
I said, like Lauren, right?
And I was like, no.
She did not like that.
Like
she
Loren.
she did not like being called Lauren. Make sure to call her Loren.
Yeah.
Say that instead.
Super funny.
But yeah, we basically hung out every single day since that moment.
Yeah.
So I locked her down.
Okay, yeah.
I asked her out to eat, and she was not used to people buying her food. So basically, like leaving out food for a raccoon, she came crawling back
Raccoon, huh?
for more
Don't forget
snacks.
that I put you through a series of tests and you had to pass those tests in order to go up to the next level. See, ladies, take notes. The men think that they're always in charge. Give them that opportunity, but really, it's okay. It's okay.
I knew there were tests happening, and I pretended to not know they were happening.
Yes.
I went belly up, and I said, you know,
It's a game.
have
Cat
at
and
it.
mouse.
Have at it, yeah. I'm easy. I don't need
No,
to test you.
but I feel for me, I was just in a place where I hadn't dated in a while, and I was very focused on my art and really trying to get better. And I wasn't in a place where I was ready to just let anybody walk into my life, right? And I've had instances in relationships where that has completely consumed me and that's taken me away, but I had to grow out of those to really realize what is important for me. And just relationships should complement you. You should be an independent person, and that other significant other should be an independent person and individual who you work on yourselves alone, but when you're together you complement each other and you help each other build each other up. And for us, on the other hand, it definitely felt like that, but I just wasn't sure because I had never met somebody who I felt like I could truly be myself around, and also wasn't like holding me back. And so yeah, it felt like, okay, well, I need to get to know you a bit before I just run and fall back and trust fall into your arms. Like, I have no idea who you are, right? So that's just what happens. And I think that it's good to take things slow.
Our first date, we went and we drew skeletons,
Yeah, oh my god. I
And
put you through my
then-
whole routine.
and then we went and we drew naked people.
Yes.
And I brought pizza from the restaurant where I paint murals at, which is Mellow Mushroom in Orlando, Winter Park location specifically. Go check it out. They also sell my shirts, so buy a shirt or something, or eat pizza. Either way,
Support.
do both. And then after that, we said goodnight, and I did not give her a kiss.
Didn't you come over and we made a painting that same night?
Might have been that same night.
I'm pretty
I
sure
might
we
have
made a
lied.
painting that same night.
Yep.
We did. We started a painting, and then you checked out my apartment. I used to live in downtown Orlando back before it wasn't insanely expensive, when it was nice and cheap, and rent was like $1,200 for a 2-bedroom. Miss those days. And yeah, you stopped by, and it was pretty cool. We developed. I felt like something that I really enjoyed is that we developed a friendship before we dove into this I really like you phase. Which
Mhm.
I did appreciate that. But I would definitely say that we have a cosmic connection in a weird way, because like, I know it's like cliche, when you see it you feel it, and I definitely felt it, but I was afraid to fully embrace and let go into that feeling because I just wasn't sure. You just never know, and only time can truly tell. But he had passed some of the tests that I had laid out there, and I felt from then on, I was like, okay, this
Yeah.
could work. And-
Also, shout out Kylan for putting in a good word.
Yeah,
You hooked it up.
my old roommate, I was asking them if, like, I was like, there's something wrong with him, and they were like, there's nothing wrong with him, he's fine. And I was like, yeah, you're right, I'm afraid and I'm looking for
Shout out.
issues. So it's all good.
Shout out.
But yeah, I think that I'm super grateful to be here now, and we just moved out to California, and it's also this relationship where it's not just that we really like each other and we're fitting into all these roles. It's that what we want truly within our life aligns, and because we're in alignment with that purpose in our lives, it also, being around each other, is helping us and giving us that push that we need. And slowly things are starting to fall more into place into our favor because we're really visualizing what it is we want and the type of lives that we want to create. And that is, again, the life of an artist. We are bringing things that most of society would mandate as just out of turn and not manageable or not possible into reality, and it's super cool, and I'm just grateful to have you as a partner to be able to push through those obstacles.
Yeah, it's been a good run.
Yeah.
High quality human being. I'm happy to have started a podcast with you. It's been fun so far, and I hope that it continues to be fun.
Yes.
And
next episode, we're gonna dye each other's hair and paint our nails. So, guys, please check us out. It's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, and any art that you feel like sending to us, we'll do a little critique portion soon on our podcast. So make sure to check us out on YouTube. We'll be showing your art, hopefully, if you would like us to talk about it. And yeah, I think that's just about all I have to say.
Hell yeah, foo. We did it.
Yeah, we did it. Thanks, y'all. Catch you in the next episode.